It is now my pleasure to introduce our speaker for this session. I couldn't be happier to introduce Cynthia Clay. Cynthia is the CEO of NetSpeed Learning. She is a nationally recognized expert on creating engaging, collaborative online learning, and she's the chief architect of the Virtual Facilitator Trainer Certification Program, the VFTCP, as I call it. She's also the author of one of the best books on the subject. I highly recommend this book. It's called Great Webinars, Interactive Learning that is Captivating, Informative, and Fun. With that, it is a pleasure to hand it over to Cynthia Clay, our speaker for today's session. Cynthia, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Let me put myself on camera. Boy, it's good to see you and from all over. So I think we're going to have a great time together. So we're going to talk about 5 secrets of stellar virtual trainers. And I saw that many of you are looking for tips to make your Adobe Connect sessions engaging. So hopefully you can pick up some things. I'm going to try and model some techniques that we can use. And I can see someone is saying no sound. So let me just see if you can hear me.
I
Just jump in the
think,
chat and say yes, you can.
yeah, I can hear you
Yeah,
just fine,
okay.
Cynthia. I think it
All
may be
right, thank
isolated.
you. Yeah, okay, we can. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So what we're going to do in the next 45 minutes, we're going to talk about how you engage your participants by commanding their undivided attention. So how do you make this so engaging they don't want to do anything else? They don't want to go multitask, check their email or whatever. And so I'm going to use the mnemonic SHINE to talk about 5 stellar secrets. So by the time you're done here, I hope you'll be able to apply some of the techniques that I'm going to recommend to you. And the whole goal here is that you're able to leverage your passion in your delivery so that you bring that energy forward and it makes the session really work for people. So we're going to start right away by just talking about this question. Our purpose here is to learn to create a stellar virtual training experience. So what makes a stellar virtual training experience? So look for your birth month. I've divided us into 4 quarters. So find your birth month, January through March, April through June, July through September, October through December in these chats. And just let's share what makes a stellar virtual training experience. When from your experience, maybe delivering and attending, when does it really kind of level up? So go ahead and just share your thoughts. Find your people. So we're using one technique. I'll comment on some of the things we're doing as we go that I really love about Adobe. Adobe Connect allows you to do multiple chat pods and divide people into groups right in the session, which is really cool. So I leverage this technique, as you'll see, a lot because it lets us break into small groups right here. Okay, I'm going to go in the order of birth month. So let's use our scroll bar, go up to the top of the January through March chat pod. And Richard got us started by just saying relevance. Okay, so we don't want to be exposed to things that have no meaning to us. But you also added engagement. And so I can see that word is coming up a lot here in this first chat. Engaging, engagement, memorable and engaging. And one thing that makes it memorable, and Kimberly, I think you probably know this, is stories. Samantha said stories. So storytelling, you bring that storytelling into the event, create narrative that helps people hold on to their key points. That works. I love the word captivating, Elizabeth. Yes, and Sherry also added humor. So you can just scroll through that one. Volker, I think, yes, we have to be as presenters well prepared and knowledgeable, right? So we can't just come in here and kind of fake it. Yeah. All right, let's jump over to what the next month is April. Let's look at our April through June pod. Boy, Trisha, you said relevance too. We got relevance as our first point. And Michelle added fun. Yeah, Nancy, you're looking for the variation, interactive fun, but also some variety in the activities that we're engaged in. Yes, Cynthia, I think that's a great way to say that when you never look at the clock because it's so interesting. Yeah. And voice came up in the first pod. It's coming up in this one. So allowing your voice to be, use all the modulation that you can in your voice so you don't become monotone. Yeah. Interactive. That's a big word here in this pod. Pleasant visuals, Christine added. Awesome. All right, jump down to July through September. I'm sorry, I can't say all of these out loud because that would be boring. But yeah, let's see what else. Oh, Celeste says technology works seamlessly. You know, there's some things we have some control over and some things we don't. But whether it works or not, the goal is to make it a stellar experience. Engaging content, Tim says. Yes. And also enthusiastic instructor presenter. Yeah, so how we show up makes a big difference in whether this feels like a stellar experience for our people. And look at all the times engaging is coming up here. Oh, Shannon, respect for the learner. I love that. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Yeah. Yes, Mike. I love that. No awkward pauses. Yes, or unnecessary screen shares. We do like it when it's practiced, right? When people know what they're doing, we're not waiting for things to happen. Yeah. All right. And then jump over to October through December. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, Stephanie says hands on. So I'm asked to participate. I don't just sit and watch. It's not a spectator sport, right? So audience engagement, Christina added. Yeah, that word participating is coming up in this pod. Yeah, Walter says, I don't want to step away. Yeah, because you're so connected to the content. Hi, Walter. Yeah. All right. Designing your room to keep engagement continuous, Alex. Awesome. We often say engagement every 3 minutes is the goal. So thank you. We all have a sense of what an engaging session is like, of what a stellar virtual learning experience is like. So we're here today because we want to see what else do I need to be doing to create that in my own session. So we're going to use the SHINE mnemonic, and that stands for the S is stream your video, the H is harness the technology, the I is interact and connect, the N is notice what's new, and the E is energize your delivery, right? So we're going to do this in a slightly different way. And again, I know I keep praising Adobe Connect, but one thing I love about Adobe Connect is that we can do some fun things like what we're going to be doing in this session. So I'm going to find out from you what two topics you want to explore. And we're going to do these in the order that you indicate. So let me just reveal a poll for you in the upper right on this layout. So you decide, you pick two that you go, these are my two that I most want to cover in this session. Look to the upper right of the layout and you'll see the poll. And I'll let you see these so we can see what's happening here. All right. Yeah. Wow, interact and connect. It's like we're watching a little race here to see what are we going to talk about first. So interact and connect has the longest bar right now, followed by energize your delivery. Yeah. And we got a little tie going. Let's see where we are. So let's do notice what's new, followed by harness the technology. And lastly, stream your video. Awesome. So you are going to drive the order that we participate in this session. And we're going to start with interact and connect based on your request. So let's talk about that I in the SHINE model. So let's talk about interaction and connection. And it actually starts before people even get there. So when you're delivering in a virtual classroom experience, you get people going before the session even begins. Jump down into this chat pod and talk about either what you do before your virtual sessions or what you've seen other presenters do to create the connection before the session even starts. Jump down into the chat pod to the left and let's talk about what we do before in order to get that connection going. It starts with the email that we send out, right? And we make sure that we get people talking to each other from the very beginning. We plan our jokes. Yeah. I maybe poll my audience to see who's there. Yeah. Oh, maybe a short intro video. That's kind of fun. Yeah, so we've got pre-work in our email. We've got tips for success with the technology. Now I see you guys are moving to what do you do during to create interaction connection? Go ahead and go there. And if you're already going to what do you do after? Go ahead. Share your ideas there because we want to really get into our bones that this is all about interaction connection. We've been doing a lot of research here around the hybrid workplace, and the biggest lack that people feel when we're working virtually is the lack of connection. And so how is it we help everyone who comes to our sessions feel more connected, more tied, more, um, I guess, integrated into some of these virtual events so they become very personal because we're craving that right now, right? So let me look. I'm looking at the before. I'm scrolling through to see some other ideas here. Yeah, it starts with advanced questions, Mike is saying. Yes, and then inviting people to fully participate from the get-go, from the opening of the session. Yeah. And so I have to know, Marcia's saying plan your interaction ahead of time. Oh yeah. In designing this, I have to know when I'm going to ask people to participate so that I am not just doing it on the fly, but I've really thought about how I'm going to get them to do it. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Maybe that storyboarding is kind of a cool thing. Yeah. Maybe create some hype with your invite. So make that as personal as possible. That invitation should really help people feel like, oh, I'm already getting to know people. You know, when we offer classes here, we often set things up in our NetSpeed Fast Tracks platform so that we ask people to post their bio, a little bit about their background. That's all happening before we even get into the synchronous virtual event so that they're already starting to get to know each other and think about what they want to learn together. Yeah, and Richard, I agree with you. Your session needs to have objectives that are communicated to people. Yeah, beautiful. Let's look at during. Join me in the middle chat pod, and I'm gonna use my scroll bar to go up here. Yeah, so brain teasers. That's fun, Deandra. Yeah, use your polls, your activities, use questions, check in. Beautiful. Check their knowledge, gauge their participation. Beautiful. You know, in our smaller sessions, we use breakout rooms a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Because that I have observed, and I think people would agree with this, that when we're going to a class session and we've been working from home, right? We love having a chance to have a small group interaction with people and check in on that topic, whatever the discussion question might be. We crave that. So see if you can build more of that into some of your sessions. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, Tim's noticing that we want to use participants' names when we're facilitating. So you're just not an anonymous, faceless group here. We're together, learning. Yeah, beautiful. Maybe continue the conversation outside of the virtual session. So if you're using Teams, you could have a Teams chat, but there might be a lot of ways to just keep the learning happening in a collaborative platform that you're using. Yeah, vary your engagement. Lisa says activities every 5 minutes, and I really strive for a facilitative style that has you interacting 1 to 3 minutes, every 1 to 3 minutes. It's kind of crazy, but I want to avoid lecturing at you. Yes, so I love these ideas. Yeah, maybe you can gamify some of it. I love that, Sherry. We did have energizing music before we started today. So maybe we can play that in our own sessions and get people hyped up, really pumped up before we even begin. Maybe we start with icebreakers, Karen says. All right, let's look at what we do after the session to keep that interaction and connection happening. Yeah, so Trisha's saying maybe we'll send an email and establish an online community. I'm a big fan of having a community of practice after you leave an important learning session where you want to continue that learning and also give people a place to talk about what happened when I tried that model that you introduced in the session. Did it work? Did I learn something from it? Would I do it differently? The place where that conversation about how I'm using it can continue. Beautiful. Yeah. So you might follow up with emails or more resources. You might summarize some of the key learning points for them. All of that is important. maybe a survey afterward. Beautiful. So our interaction and connection begins before we even arrive here and continues after the synchronous event. So I want to just ask you this question. This is a kind of a setup question, right? So what have we done in this session to help you feel more connected? Now I'm revealing two chat pods. It's kind of back to school mentality right now in at least in the United States. Everybody's going back to school. So you can pick whether, I used to love getting my school supplies. So is it like sharpened pencils? I get sharpened pencils. Or is it pink erasers? I get pink erasers. So pick one of those chat pods. And what I'd like you to talk about is what have we done already to help you feel, to help you interact and to feel connected to the people in this session. So just reflect on where we are right now. Did we get a good start on this? Actually, I only want positive comments. Don't critique me. I'm trying to model some of the things that we recommend that help you feel connected, get you interacting. Okay. So I'm going to go to our sharpened pencils here, and you've got a scroll bar. Yes, Christina, using people's names, critically important, really helps us feel like we are part of this. We're co-creating it together. And Lisa goes, I heard my name. Yeah. Taking in your feedback, Megan, this is a big one. I really feel this listening to you and allowing you to make the key learning points and weaving them into what I want to say today makes this more engaging for everybody. Yeah. Yeah, Talea, I like it. It feels like a safe place. Yeah. Chat pods. I love chat pods too, because I like knowing you're here and that you're thinking and involved and contributing. Beautiful. You got multiple emails regarding the training. I didn't have anything to do with that, but that's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of opportunity for impact, input and feedback. Beautiful. Using the polls, using the chat. Yeah, Celeste, I like that you like typing in your ideas and seeing other people's ideas because I think that's fun. It makes us feel like we're all together here. Yeah. Walter says we aren't waiting for you to find the next piece of content and create the next polling question. No, it's all happening in a flow. Yeah. Yeah, we let you decide the order of that we is me today, right? I let you decide the order of the content. Kind of fun. So you have some control over what we talk about first. Yeah. Yeah, and you get to decide where you share your thoughts. That's kind of fun. All right, jump over to the Pink Eraser group. Yeah, we broke you out by birth month. One of the more fun things I like to do in here is come up with all kinds of creative ways to break people up in different groups and have you keep moving in with different people to chat. Yeah. Oh, my smile. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, Elizabeth, and Elizabeth's discovered that you can change your chat color. So if you go to the three little dots in the upper right of the pod, you can actually pick any color you want for your chat. You can play with that. Oh, Elizabeth changed it to green. So find a color that you want to stick with today. Yeah. Yes, and I'm trying to act on your contribution, and that's a good observation, Stephanie. So it isn't irrelevant interaction. It's relevant to what's happening inside the session. Yeah. Beautiful. Personal experiences. Yeah, you were asked at the beginning if this was your first Adobe Learning Summit, so you got to already, before we even got started, share that. Yeah. Thank you for telling me I'm so fun. My work here is done. Yeah. All right, cheering you on, giving you some control of the learner, giving you choice. Beautiful. Yeah, telling you how to change your font color. Yeah, so you're not left out of this, right? Yeah, all right, awesome. So we started with I based on your request. We're going to go to E. So let's talk about energize your delivery. Let me take us back here. Forgot to set that back up when we were practicing. All right, so we're pulling our E out of the hat like a little magician. Now, I want you to think of a time where you attended a live training where the presenter energized the delivery and just think about what was the impact of that energy level on your learning experience. So I want you to talk about impact. How did that make a difference for you as a participant in a session like that? Yes, Samantha, you might have retained the information. Yeah. So that energy level instantly, I'm going back and forth between these two pods, and this time you're divided by your last name. So A through K at the top, L through Z at the bottom, and wherever you wound up, because I forgot to say that at the beginning, is okay. It's just a way to, when you have a lot of people, it's a way to give you a little smaller experience, because otherwise the chats really stream by quickly. So when we have a big group, I like to have multiple chat pods. So what's the impact? What happens to you as a learner when there is energy and passion in the delivery? All right, I'm going to go down. I'm going to start with the last name L through Z because, my last name begins with C, and I always went first when I was going through school. So I take pity on the people whose last name begins L through Z. I'm starting with you. So Chris got us started with the engagement was high from the beginning. And it's interesting. Trisha says it helped me focus on the content. And I think it might be because your mind isn't drifting away, right? So you want to hear more. You're all ears. I love it. Yeah, you retain the information better. I think that's true because you're really paying attention to the information. And so multitasking starts to go down, Michelle is pointing out. Yes, it's interesting. Alna's saying the more energy, the more attention. That's so interesting. But when you show up at a session and it's really low energy, you really start looking for other things to do. I asked somebody once what they did, and one guy told me he mowed his lawn once during a web training. But I think I've topped that because last year I was at the most boring session I've ever been at, and I baked a cake. I just brought my laptop into the kitchen, made this birthday cake that I needed to make, and we don't want people doing that, right? We want to bring our energy, our passion here so that they feel like even if they thought they might get something else done, no, I really want to focus here. Yeah. You were moved emotionally. That's a good observation as well. You felt something because the presenter was comfortably expressing that emotional content. And there's some good neuroscience that supports that how we show up, especially on camera like this, how we show up actually creates mirror neurons in our participants' brains. I just love that. So if I'm feeling positive and upbeat and happy and energized, you actually start to feel that in response. Yeah, except Jesse says, but don't fake it, right? Don't fake it. It has to be genuine energy. Yeah, so it's like, so what do you have to do to get genuine energy? But you don't want it to be over the top fake. But if we're connecting and there's real emotional content in the way I'm feeling here, that triggers a neural response in learners' brains. So I think that's so cool. Yeah. Have I found I need to redefine energized in virtual sessions? I'm not sure I understand the question, David, so you might ask it a different way and see if I get that. Yeah. So I'm looking down. Let me finish through the last name L through Z. Entertained, Natalie is saying. Yeah. Oh, very present in the moment delivery. Unique and relevant. Yeah. And I want to participate because I feel that sense of energy. Even though you're in France, it's a long day. Thank you. I'm glad I'm energizing you a little bit. And it does lead to greater retention. You're more likely to remember the key points that we're trying to express today. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to jump up to the last name A through K pod. Yeah, it kept your interest. You felt excited. You tried not to multitask and say, I think that's really cool. So it's like, oh, I don't want to leave. I choose to be present here with you. You're more motivated to keep listening and participating. Yeah, Jesse says I was hanging on every word. I heard Magic Johnson and his energy was just coming through the screen. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, very cool. Oh, yeah, David, thank you for rephrasing it for me. So since we can't be, I'm at the bottom of the last name A through K pod. Since we can't be face to face with an audience, camera and voice only, has that changed how you project and share your energy? Yes, thank you for asking that. And I'll just say that when I first started delivering this way, I found knowing that I was on camera, I actually kind of flattened out at first. I found that I would watch my recordings and this is over a decade ago, and that my voice tended to go monotone and I tended to be smaller. Like not as energetic as I might be in front. And so I really had to give myself, in my first year of delivering this way, literally would put post-it notes that said, you have permission to be energetic, right? And I would have to give myself permission to use all the vocal range of my voice, to let my hands move, to let my face express, to allow myself to be animated. Because I mean, a lot of us don't like being on camera, but I really had to just like work past that to go bring your energy into the room, even though it feels odd that you're sitting at your desk looking into a camera lens. Allow yourself to be animated. Yeah. All right. Yeah, camera can affect overall bandwidth, but I less and less these days as more and more internet gets faster and more prolific, get more around the world. Um, even if it's voice only, David, your energy will express in your voice. Yeah. All right. Thank you. That was a great discussion. So energy is critical. And so your positive attitude then is going to be really important to the effect on the group. Your enthusiasm for that topic makes people want to learn more about that topic. And I know, sometimes we have to train topics that we're like, oh, got to teach that again, right? We can't show up with that mindset. We have to remember why that topic is so important to the people in the room and remember our own energetic response when we first learned that topic. Yeah. So that, as I said, you want to give yourself permission to be animated so that you bring that energy and passion into the room. And this last point I think is critically important. I know a lot of people like to stand when they present online, and standing really doesn't work for me because I had kids, and so standing meant you had to go like this and rock them. So I found that when I tried to stand, I would start moving back and forth on my feet, and I was just like, okay, that's no good. So what works for me is to sit, but sit at the edge of my chair. Sit so I'm holding myself up. If I sit, and I've seen presenters present like this. Now, if I talk from back there, my mic goes out, but when I lean back in my chair, my energy immediately drops. So I'm holding myself up. My feet are underneath me. I'm having to use my muscles to stay upright like this. And that makes a huge difference, I have found, to my energy level. So I give you that tip. And then the last point here is that I look forward to connecting and learning from the people that are here, right? So when I woke up this morning and I thought, oh, I get to deliver this session at the Adobe e-learning world, I actually lay there and savored how much fun we were going to have together so that I felt authentically energized about being able to come here and do this with you. Yeah. And I did sit on a bouncy ball, Georgina, for a long time when I delivered. I sat on a bouncy ball, and then one day a cat jumped on it and it popped. So that bouncy ball no longer exists. But if you can do that without going like this, then more power to you. Yeah. Oh, you lost my video. Huh. Let me see if I can bring it back up again. Thank you for letting me know. There we go. Okay. I'm looking at our next letter, and it is harness the technology. Harness the technology. So let's go to our letter H by popular demand. So we're pulling an H out of the hat. So let's talk about, is it important to harness the technology? And if you would say, yeah, it is. If you've got to master it, you've got to use the technology well, you've got to understand it and know how it works. Give me a green check if you would agree with that. And you can give me a red X if you would go, no, really, no, you don't have to do that. And then if you click a green check, jump up to the box that says yes, and then tell us why it's important. And if you click No, it really isn't because I have a producer. You can jump into the box below and tell us why not. Okay. And then once you've added a thought in the box above, pretend that you said no and go down to the box below. Because I see there's a lot of people saying yes and only a few people, one in this case, saying no. And I don't want you to feel alone in there. Yeah. So the word seamless has come up a few times today. And so seamlessness happens because I know what my technology does. I know its limitations. I know its best features and assets, and I leverage them. Yeah. Yeah, because you'll frustrate your participants, Katie is saying, if you don't know it. And there'll be delays. There'll be awkward pauses if you don't know it. Yeah. So keeping things moving during the session is really important. Yeah. Oh, you use dynamic backgrounds, Ahmad. That's fun. So the more you understand and can utilize the technology, the smoother it's going to be, right? So you're going to build your credibility as a presenter if you're comfortable in here. Yeah. And if something happens, if there's like a tech mishap, you're going to be able to quickly know what do I need to do to respond to that tech mishap. Yeah. It is the future. I agree that it's the future of our industry. So I think as facilitators, I used to be a great, I probably still am, but I just haven't done it in a long time, face-to-face facilitator. And when I first moved in here, it just was so unfamiliar and awkward to be in this completely different space and learn to deliver in here. But I've learned 10 at least web conference platforms. Once you learn one, the rest are easy to learn. But I just know that my confidence and comfort level zooms when I, zoom is a funny word to use, goes way up when I feel confident with the technology. Yeah. Just the same way I have to be a master of my content. Yeah. It's like learning to drive a car, Alex says. You got to know how that platform works before you can master it. And I've been to sessions where the presenter has to say to the producer, could you open that poll? Okay, let's leave that poll open a few more seconds. Okay, let's close that poll. Is the poll closed? Can we see the results? And you know that just like, I hate all that stuff. I want the presenter to just be able to open the poll, debrief it, show the results, close it without having to comment on everything that's happening. Yeah. If you're able to use it, they'll be more comfortable, Patty says. Beautiful. Talea, you made that red, so it jumped right out at me. To avoid chaos and complete silence. Yes. Oh my goodness. I attended a webinar once where it was called Killer Webinars, I think, and the presenter just totally bogged down trying to use the platform. And there was a long, 5 minutes of trying to troubleshoot that was all caused by the presenter not knowing how Adobe Connect works. And her question up for discussion was, have you ever attended a killer webinar? And unfortunately, people were typing, yes, this one. And it was totally tied to the fact that she didn't know the technology well enough to get out of a situation that she had created. Yeah. Yeah. So Susie says, but when something goes wrong in technology, sometimes it seems like it exacerbates and really messes it up. Yeah. So we technology gremlins, and I'm referring to you right now, not inviting you to play technology gremlins, but technology gremlins sometimes show up and create opportunities for us to overcome them. And I have given up getting upset by them, right? They're just there, and sometimes you have to deal with them and sometimes you don't. Yeah. Celeste says you got to keep your cool when things happen. So jump down to the no, tell us why not pod. Yeah. Paul says, well, only if you have a moderator or a host to handle it. Now, I got to tell you, I'm a big believer in having a host or a producer. I'm a big believer in not running solo in any web conference platform because you want to be able to toss the technology issues to a skilled producer so that you're not bogged down trying to resolve them, right? You can stay focused on the learners and on the content, but if some of us might say, nah, you don't have to harness the technology if we're relying on that producer. Yeah. Yeah, David says you need to have a controlled environment. Sometimes too many electronic stuff can cause you to lose focus. Yes. Yeah, so don't use your producer as a crutch. Daniel, I like minimalism. You don't have to use all the bells and whistles and add other things into this platform. Adobe Connect lets you do all kinds of really interesting things to keep people's attention. Yeah. Yes, Walter, it's nice when the audience doesn't have to listen to next slide ever again. Yes. All right. Thank you for playing with that because I do think we want to be masters of our technology. Now, let me take you here to a poll. How would you rate your skill level at using Adobe Connect, the platform we're in today? So you can just rate. I'll let you see these as they come in because it'll be fun. Ooh, we got a lot of very unskilled. The thing I love about Adobe Connect that differentiates it from every other platform out there is it's a different mental model. And most platforms have a very static, we're just going to give you this one screen and here's this one chat and here, and Adobe, because it has layouts that you can switch into and you can use multiple chat pods and multiple polls on the same layout. And you've got lots of different opportunities to show a video or play music or whatever it is you're going to do. But using layouts as a way to guide you through your presentation, I just find it's fabulous for designing more interesting events with people. So you can see over half of you are saying, I'm very unskilled. And so I just want to direct you to Adobe Connect tutorials. So go learn how to do it in here. It's a slightly different mental model, but it's actually, once you get it, that you're creating learning activities layout by layout, it's a very different design experience. I really love it. So I think of it as breaking the linear approach to design. So a lot of platforms sort of force you into, I'm going to present for a while and then ask one chat question. I'm going to present for a while and then ask a poll. I'm going to present for a while. It's very boring, right? So I love this platform. So if you're going to be using Adobe Connect, go learn the differences between other platforms out there, which are more static, and this one, which is much more, in my mind, vibrant, right? So I love designing for this one. So it looks like 14% of you say you're very skilled. Awesome. 23% say you're somewhat skilled. And some of you are hanging out in the middle, neither skilled or unskilled or somewhat unskilled. But wherever you are here, ask yourself, what is it I need to do in order to raise my level of confidence and competence in using this platform? And then go do it, right? Especially if you're going to be delivering training this way. Because as a presenter, your sense of control and ease is going to zoom right up. You're going to feel less anxious about being in here. And if stuff does go wrong, and Lord knows it always does, or I won't say always because today it's not going to, but it sometimes does. You're able to feel like you're in charge if problems go wrong. You can escalate it. You can implement a backup plan and just smoothly work to a solution that allows the learning to continue. And as a presenter, you're going to feel like, okay, I'm in charge of the pacing and the timing here, right? So I'm not at the mercy of somebody else. So let me just ask you this question. What's a best practice that you recommend when you're using Adobe Connect? And so whether you've used it or not, pick your pod. You either have shoes on today or you have shoes off. And I'll confess, I do not have my shoes on because I'm working from my home office. So shoes on or shoes off. Recommend a best practice. So if you've never presented with Adobe Connect, but you've experienced it as a learner, you can recommend a best practice because you've experienced it. If you're a facilitator, yeah, slippers or shoes, Megan. Get in the right pod, Megan. If you're a facilitator, what is your favorite best practice in here? And give us a little more than just like chat. No, tell us more. What's the best practice around chat? Yeah. No, no, Stacy, if you have flip-flops, you're up in the shoes on pod. Oh, well, I don't care where you go, wherever you want. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So look at what are some best practices that you've already observed from other speakers that you have done yourself and share your hot tip here. Okay, I'm going to pick out a few and then we're going to zoom because we got two more letters to do. Just a few minutes left here in our session. I'm having such fun with you. Thank you. All right, you guys are loving multiple chat boxes. Yeah. Using polling to see if people understand content. Layouts for each section, David says. Keep your video on. Beautiful. Yeah, visual interest. I love changing layouts because I love the changing of the visual presence so that people attention gets focused back again. And then down to our shoes off group. Let's pull out a few here. Yeah, multiple chat boxes is really a happy one. Customizing your layouts, different layouts, different reaction features. Beautiful. All right. You guys, this is awesome. And we got two more letters to do really quickly. We started with IEH. Let's do notice what's new. That's our N. So when I talk about notice what's new, what I'm really thinking about is a Buddhist term called beginner's mind. That I'm going to show up as if I've never done this session before. I'm going to be fully present. I'm going to be open to your input. I'm going to engage with you as real people. So it feels like together we are co-creating this learning experience. I'm not just delivering this canned presentation. No, no, no. You're changing the way this presentation happens. And I'm tying it to what you're interested in and what you're talking about. So what do you have to do so that you could show up like this before you even start the virtual event? I want you to think about the 30 minutes before the session even starts. What are you as a presenter going to do to create beginner's mind? Yeah, what do you have to do so that you show up with beginner's mind? You show up ready to go. You show up completely open to who your learners are and what they're going to bring. You relax, Megan says. Think about the goals of your participants. So your mind is on your learners. Yeah. So before you even open the session, right? It's those few minutes before it begins. Janelle says, clear your schedule and be in a nice, comfortable space. Yes. Yeah, remember your first time learning the material. I like that, Jennifer. Breathe, smile. Yeah, Georgina, I love that. I like to think I'm going to see a cousin I've not seen in a long time. Beautiful. Yeah, so let me just share with you some things we highly recommend. Get there early so you can troubleshoot anything that might have come up. I think of our technology gremlins as being little demons, right? That maybe even mess things up overnight. So I want to have 15 or 30 minutes so I can get focused. I can troubleshoot anything. Usually I find often I have to reboot my computer so my camera gets reconnected because for some reason when I move from platform to platform, it changes the way whether my camera will open or not. So I've just learned I need to allow time to reboot my computer and then look over the list and see who's coming. Yeah, I bring good questions in to get you to share with me so I can listen to learn. I can reinforce the key points. Yeah, checking in with people, rehearsing is all good. All right, our last letter, and then we're going to wrap up here, is the S. And you know, Lord knows we've all been on camera so much lately. There isn't a lot we have to say about this. So it's stream your video is our last letter. And I'm going to take us to a completely different question in a second. We want to put ourselves on camera whenever possible. There may be technical reasons why we can't, but the reason we want to be on camera is we're going to create that emotional connection with people. And we know that when we do that and we show up with authenticity and allowing ourselves to be animated, that people reduce how much multitasking is going on. It's just more interesting for people. And it's more like a live classroom experience. So quickly in our summer, autumn, winter pods, you pick your favorite season. Spring is so far away, I didn't put it in there. Give me a tip for streaming your video in an online session. What's one thing that you recommend about streaming your video? Yeah, close all your unused programs so you're not having a bandwidth fight. Have a nice background. Clean up. Yep. Yeah, be yourself in a natural environment. Thank you. Just the way I am today. I am not a big believer in using backgrounds. I like the authenticity of showing up in a real place. I realize that not everybody agrees with that. So in our summer pod, your lighting needs to be good. Yep. Log out of your VPN. Your webcam needs to be good. Yeah. Watch what stripes are not good on camera. Beautiful. Test it. I'm jumping down to the autumn pod. Check your lighting and angle. Yep. Yeah, check your microphone. Do the best audio you can get. And then jump down to the winter pod. Yeah, make eye contact through the camera lens. That's beautiful. All right, we have had a packed time together. I want to quickly bring our Shine model back, streaming our video using some of the tips that you shared today, being masters of our technology, our H, harness that technology, interact and connect, and it starts before the session even begins, and then show up with beginner's mind so you're ready to notice what's new and energize your delivery. So I thank you for being part of this experience today. And as we wrap up, share one insight or one action. What's your big takeaway from the last few minutes? And as you're doing that, there is an additional resource for you. If you see down below the slide, it says Great Web Engagement ebook. That's there for you to download from our website. So share insights and actions here in our last minute. Yeah, having fun, bringing beginner's mind. Oh, thank you, Christina. You're my favorite participant now. You win the new car. Yeah, Lisa, get your company to purchase Adobe Connect. Beautiful. Yeah, a virtual car. You get a virtual car, Christina. Thank you. Yeah, awesome. Beautiful. You liked the transitions, the engagement. Beautiful. Being yourself, smiling, making it fun. Awesome. All right, I'm going to hand this back in our last 30 seconds.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. We've kept your resources now up in the top left-hand corner. So if you didn't get a chance to download that on the previous layout, you'll see it on the top left-hand corner of this layout. If you could take a moment to help provide feedback on this session, we'd really appreciate it. It helps us improve these sessions going forward.